Okay, guys, this is 3D trig. So when it comes to 3D trig, we have a few parts of 3D trig. We have cosine, we have sine, and we have area. 2D trig was quite simple, right? 2D trig was right angles. Um, it's still valid if you can do all of the grade 10 2D trig and right angle triangles. It's valid until matric. But now to solve with SOHCAHTOA is easy. SOHCAHTOA. You can obviously watch the video on 2D trig for grade 10, but what happens when the triangle is not a right angle? And now there's no Pythagoras. That's where that's where 3D trig comes in, is when we don't have a right angle triangle. Now, if we start off with a normal triangle, let's go and learn the labels of a triangle. We know a triangle has three sides. We know this is A, let's put it as A, B, and C. The capital letter A, B, and C is basically the angles, right? The letter that's directly opposite the angle, like opposite C, would be a small c. And that's the line of C. That's the line of B. And that's the line of angle A. Now, once we understand how to label the triangles, the rest is about the formula. We're going to start off learning cosine first. There's a reason. Cosine only works two times. It only works with two types. So if it's not part of those two types of questions, cosine doesn't work. Okay? So it's two types of questions, and that's all. Okay? Now again, cosine will only work under two circumstances. Let's start with the first one. Cosine will only work when we have all three sides. So let's call this let's call this 8. Let's call this 7, and let's call this 5. So this is three sides. So cosine works when we have three sides. But cosine also only works when we have, let's go again. Let's put this P, Q, R. Let's put this as 70, and let's put this as 13 and 4. Okay. Now, cosine also only works when we have two sides and an inclined angle. So it means I got an angle stuck in between two sides. Let's try again, right? So if we look at this triangle, okay. So if we look at this triangle, it's quite simple. It only works with three sides or two sides and an inclined angle. What does it mean? It means I have this angle and these two sides, or I have these two sides and this angle, or I have this angle and these two sides. That means the angle must be stuck in between the two sides that we have. So all of this works out. Just for an example, if I had this would not be cosine. Why? Because my angle is not stuck in between two sides. But if I had the angle here, I could use cosine. So let's start with the basic formula of cosine before we even start with any questions. So the basic formula of cosine, whether it's A, B, or C, is A squared, right? So A squared equals to the other two sides, B squared plus C squared, minus 2BC and cosine A, right? It doesn't matter. If you're going to deal with cos B, we're going to change the sides. This is going to be B squared equals to the other two sides. a squared plus c squared minus 2ac cosine b. And the same thing with cos c. We're going to put c on the other side, c squared. And we're just going to use the other two letters, a squared plus b squared minus 2, and then we just use these two again, ab, right? Now that's the basic formula. Let's start with this question, right? So if we deal with this basic question, that's here. Let's say I want you to calculate, I want you to calculate angle A. Okay, you want to do angle A, so we have to use cosine A. So the formula we use is A squared equals to B squared plus C squared minus 2BC. Before we even start that, let's start to label. That's A, that's B, and that's C. And then from here, it's quite simple. This will be 7 squared equals to 8 squared plus 5 squared minus 2 into 8 into 5 cosine A. Okay. Now, when we get to this, you should simplify. I think it makes it a bit easier. If you can take it over one time, go for it. But I generally simplify everything. That's 49. That's 64 plus 25. That's minus 2 times 8 times 5. That's minus 80 cos A. Right? The next part is I would take the 49. I would take the 64 over, the 25 over. That equals to minus 80 cos A. Okay, so that's 49 minus 64 minus 25. That's minus 40 equals to minus 80 cos A divided by minus 80 divided by minus 80. And this is 1 over 2. This is 1 over 2 cos A. Now, guys, to solve an unknown angle, we know we use shift cos. So it's going to be shift cos of half equals to A. So A equals to 60. That's all there is to this question. Now, this is 60. I mean, we can go and calculate again all of the sides, but we could. This is A. I think I'm going to give my students about 5 minutes, and they're going to try and do B. We're going to solve for B. And thereafter, we're going to solve for C. Okay. Okay, guys, if we're solving for B, quite simply, B squared would be equal to A squared plus C squared minus 2AC cos of B. Now, 8, that'll be 8 squared, which is A, which is 7 squared, plus 5 squared, minus 2 into 7 into 5, and that's cosine of B. I simplify as far as I can go first. 64, 49, plus 25, minus, if I'm not mistaken, I think that's 35, 7 times 5, times 2, minus 70 cos B. And if I deal with it, 64 minus 49 minus 25 equals to minus 70 cos B. So let's deal with it. 64 minus 49 minus 25 is minus. Okay. Let me double check. 64 minus 49 minus 25. Okay. I got minus 10, which equals to minus 70 cos B. And now I could also be wrong, so I am going to double check just to make sure. That's 64, 7, 5, 0.75. Okay, genuinely, I don't think I am, but we'll see. That's minus 70. That's cos beta. And now it's going to be, let's solve for beta. That's shift cos to the 1 over 7. I don't think I made a mistake, but I will double check. And I got 81.77. I got 81.77, but let's double check everything. So, guys, the last part is to get the last angle. And I want you to know that, yes, you can go and do cosine, but why? Why would you need to do cosine? 180 minus 60 minus 81.77. And that's 180 minus that answer, minus 60. And this equals to 38.21. Why? Because of sum of angles in a triangle. Okay. Now, our next question looks something like this. Let's go and do this. So sometimes you could have this. Now, the fact that after we label this as in A, B, oh no, not A, P, R, and Q, the only angle we got is P. So cos P has to go there, P squared has to go there, and now we can go with R squared plus Q squared minus 2RQ equals to that. If we solve this, this is the one you can put straight into the calculator if you wanted to, but it's up to you guys. That's 13 squared plus 4 squared minus 2 into 13 into 4, and that's cos of 70. This can go straight into the calculator, no problems, to be honest, but we end up with P squared equals to. Now, guys, don't make mistakes. If you're putting it into the calculator in one shot, I understand. But don't make silly mistakes with it because it's really easy to make mistakes, including myself. So my answer is P squared equals to 149.42. And when I square root both sides, I end up with P equals to 12.2. So that's 12.2. Now that you got three sides, no matter what you wanted, now that you got three sides, it doesn't matter. We could use cosine to find anything that we wanted now because we have three sides. And that's all there is to the cosine rule. Quite simple. Okay, guys, this would be some practice examples taken from Mind Action series, actually. And the next one that we deal with is the sine rule. The reason the cosine rule was taught first is there's only two times that you can use it. All right. The proof is quite simple to deal with. We can deal with the proofs in a while. It's the calculation that I want to deal with first. So the cosine rule will only be used when you have three sides or you have two sides and an inclined angle. The sine rule is used every other time, no matter what you have. If it's not cosine, it's sine. That's just the way I think of it. So, excuse me, guys. If it's not cosine, automatically it's sine. So look at this. The fact that I got two angles and I got a number on this side. If it is not, you can see this is not, automatically this is not cosine because I don't have three sides and I don't have inclined angle. So automatically it's sine. Now the general rule for sine is sine A over A which equals to sine B over B, which equals to sine C over C. Now, some of your teachers might put the small a on the top and the small b on the top and the small c on the top. It doesn't matter. It's the same thing, right? Step one, label, guys. Always label. This is small r, small s, small t, right? Where you can calculate stuff, calculate it, because see this? This is sum of angles of a triangle. So this is 180 minus 55 minus 40. 180 minus 55 minus 40, which is 85. And now you and I can start to calculate, right? So it doesn't matter what we're calculating. Let's start with R. All you need to do is have one full side. When I mean a full side, a full part. So we only use two of this at a time. You don't ever use all three. So all you need is one full side. You need one angle and a side. So if I look at this, I got sine S over S. I put my S like this because it looks like a 5, but anyway. And I'm going to pick R to calculate. So I want to do sine R over R. And then quite simply, this can be solved because this is sine of 85 over 30. And this equals to sine of 40 actually. Sine of 40 over 30. Please double check everything in case you make mistakes. 85 over R, and then we just cross multiply, guys. You can do it in one step. I'm not going to. Once you understand it, you can do it in one step. But that's sine 40. That equals to 30 multiplied by sine 85. And R equals to 30 multiplied by sine 85 over sine 40. And what happens now is 30 times sine 85 divided by sine 40. And I ended up with 46. So my answer is 46. Yeah. 46.49. So if I go back to this is 46.49. Now guys, the moment you use sine and get something, if we look at this, if I wanted to, I could think of this as cosine. You see, two sides and an inclined angle. But I'm not going to do that because I want to actually work with sine to teach you guys sine. So let's get this down. Let's move it there. Okay, cool. Let's deal with the next one. So I'm going to deal with t. I'm going to use sine s again because I want to. Equals to sine t over t. And then this would be sine of 40 over 30 equals to sine of 55 over t. Again, we cross multiply. You end up with t times sine 40, which equals to 30 multiplied by sine 55. Right? And then t is equal to 30 multiplied by sine 55 all over sine 40. And now this would be 30 multiplied by sine 55 all over sine of 40. And this would be 38. T is equal to 38.23. And that's all there is to a question like this. It's quite simple. Now, guys, I understand level 4 questions, the exam questions for this is where you have to use everything you did to prove. Those ones are difficult. But Every single one of those questions is done the exact same way. The moment you understand the cosine rule, the moment you understand the sine rule, it's very simple to deal with. So you and I are going to do one practice example, and then we're going to move on to the area rule. Right, we do one more practice example. Let's start by labeling. That's C, that's small b, that's small a. Right, I can see already I have sine of a over a, right? Which equals to, I'm not really worried about the other sides, but the only other side that I do have is small c. So small c over sine c. Okay. Now if I deal with this, I get sine of 70 all over 13, which equals to sine of c all over 10. But I can simplify without cross multiplying if I wanted to, but I'm not going to do that because I didn't teach you guys that. But I mean, you could just put in the calculator and it would be the same thing. I mean, see, you could do it in one step if you wanted to. But you guys, as you'll get better at this, you're going to be able to do it in one step. So this ends up at 0.772. 284 some change, right? Then C equals to shift sine 0.72284 some change. And if I press shift sine of that answer, I end up with 46.29. That's what I got for C. I got 46.29. Now, guys, just by looking at this, B's value should be easy as well. 180 minus 70 minus 46.29. That's 180 minus 70 minus 46.29, and that equals to 63.71. This is sum of angles in a triangle. The last side is x, and again, this one shouldn't be too much of a problem. We should be able to deal with it because I'm going to deal with sine A. I'm going to deal with sine A over A, which is sine 70 over 13. And that equals to sine B over B, which equals to sine of 63.73 over B. When we cross multiply, we end up with B times sine 70, which equals to 13 multiplied by sine 63.71. And then B equals to this side. 0.71 over sine 70. And then 13 times sine 63.71 all over sine of 70. And that equals to, B equals to 12.40. And that's all there is to this part, 12.40. And that should be the end of sine. I think the next rule that we do is area, but area is generally very easy. But yeah, let's see if we can get it right. Yeah. Okay, guys, the last one is the area rule. Now, the area rule is generally easy as well, but the area rule only works. There's only a certain time that the area rule works, and it is never done alone, guys. You always have to do sine or cosine first before you deal with the area rule. And the area rule only works with two sides and an inclined angle, right? So if it's two sides and an inclined angle, the area works. Like you could calculate area like this for those two, or those two, or those two. It doesn't matter. It's more like cosine, but it's quite simple as well. After you label A, B, and C, it's very simple because you can say the area of triangle ABC equals to, and it will always be half of the other two sides, half of the sides times the angle. So it's going to be half of 10, 12, 10, 12 sine 125. And this would be 49, 15. Guys, I'm using centimeters squared. I should have just put centimeters. I did not. But again, it's very simple. You see, if we don't do it correctly, we're in a little bit of a problem, and then it doesn't work. Like if I pick something like this, guys, let's put it as A, B, and C. If I pick this as 18, if I pick this as 17.3, and if I picked, let's go here, 55.2. And if I told you to calculate the area, this would be virtually impossible. You cannot do it. But you would have to use the rules to try, because you need two sides and you need an inclined angle. If I got this angle here, I win. I could do the area. But I don't have that angle. So what I'm going to do is label A, B, and C. I'm going to go with sine of B over B, which equals to sine of C over C. And I'm going to substitute. Sine of 55.2 over 17.3 equals to sine of C over 18. Now, guys, I'm going to simplify in one step just because I taught you guys this already. Okay, so after I simplify this, I get 0,85437 some change, and that's sine C. Sine of 55.2, I'm just double checking in case I made any mistakes. Yeah, I'm good. And then C equals to shift sine of this answer. So shift sine answer there. And then C equals to 58.69. Okay, so this is 58.69. Now, the next part is for us to get angle A. Now, for angle A, it's quite simple because we got two angles. We can deal with it quite easily. That's 180 minus 55.2 minus 58.69. 180 minus 55.2 minus 58.69. And this answer is 66.11, right? 66.11. Now, guys, the fact that I got this, the area of triangle ABC equals to half BC sine A. You could use anything that you needed to, but I got those two sides. Half of 18, 17.3, and this will be sine of 66.11. So if I deal with this, 0.5 multiplied by 18 multiplied by 17.3 multiplied by sine 66.11. And yeah, it's a very unrealistic number, but the area is, I mean, it makes sense. 142.36 centimeters squared. And that's all there is to this question.